Good morning and welcome to YCS Prague, the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series of the year. And for the first time ever, we've been to, well, a much more eastern part of Central Europe, because I have been told that it is in fact still considered Central Europe.
Yes, it's Central, not Eastern. There's a lot of confusion about that.
Right. Well, my name is Oliver German and I'm your host for the weekend, and I'm joined here by Robert Grayson Hooley. Great to have you again, Rob.
Yeah, fantastic to be here.
And like I said, I want to welcome all of you guys to a great show that we're going to put on this weekend. We already pre-recorded some contents yesterday, so you will be able to tell because we look a little bit different. We have different ties and stuff.
Shirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can tell what we pre-recorded yesterday. We're going to run you through a couple of decks that we're going to see this weekend for certain. And then on top of that, we're going to give you a brief outlook of what we thought this event would be like. On top of that, we got an interview with Peter Frottier from Konami, the head of the OP department in Europe. He's going to run us through what's going to happen for the rest of the year and some of the background information that you guys have been asking for, like what's the story behind YCS Prague, for example.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so what are you most looking forward to, Rob?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, already we've been in Prague, and Prague is somewhere that I've always liked to visit, and it's lived up to my expectations. It's a beautiful place. Plus, we've also now got the Secret Forces out, so we've got 3 brand new deck types in the meta that we're going to be seeing a lot of this weekend. You
mentioned that in one of the deck features yesterday that Duelist Alliance was the last set that could pull this off, where we had one set that completely reshaped the meta, where we suddenly had Shadows and Burning Abyss at the top of the field, and then later Qliphort also joined them. And now with this new set, everything has changed once again.
Yeah, basically what's happened is Shadow specifically as well has taken a bit of a step back, and we're seeing more Necros, Yosenju, and Spiritual Beasts. Now, we are looking at, particularly today as well, we've got our round 1, which is going to be a fantastic look at kind of the older meta with the new challenges and the newer meta as well. But it's... yeah, they're interesting. They're complicated decks to play as well.
Yeah.
So players can really get a good feel for it as well.
Okay. So, well, you can look forward to that. We got 608 players that signed up this morning. A lot of them came, well, a couple of them came from the Czech Republic, but we got a few guys from Germany, of course, from Italy. The UK, they made the trip, even though Prague is quite a bit of distance between the UK and Prague. But everybody who is here, or at least most of the veterans, told me that they're going to spend at least 1 more day or 2 more days in the city. And it's that beautiful. The old town of Prague is always worth a visit, in my personal opinion. And it's also quite affordable, which is another plus.
All of the judges have told me they're taking a week off
to
come back.
Wow, talk about that. Judge compensation must be really good. All right. So for our first round feature match, we got a national champion, Kevin Langenberg from the Netherlands. He's going to be seated on the left-hand side. And he brings one of the new decks to the table.
Yes, he is actually playing a form of Yosenju, which I'm not sure about. It actually only runs 4 of the Yosenju cards, which is Kama 1, 2, 3, and Sujit, which is great, but he's missing kind of like the big monsters, the Yosenju. He's also not running Secret Move. He's also not running Training Ground, so he doesn't have his Search.
So I looked over the deck list, and all of this looks interesting, and we figured very early it must be an anti-deck, because we got anti-spell fragrance, we got Vanity's Emptiness, of course, one of the most popular cards.
3 Mirror Force, 3 Fiendish Chain. Well, 3 5-Dimension Takey just to be able to search for his monsters, but he's also running 3 Pot of Duality as well, and I think that's why he's using the Yosenju engine for his...
That's what I was about to ask. Why not run, for example, Bujin instead? What makes Yosen better, if you're not running any of the support cards really, than Bujin or than the 6 Samurai or something else that is explosive and could be used as an anti-deck?
One of the main things that you're looking at the moment is that 6 Samurai still like to special summon. And there is so much hate on special summoning at the moment that you don't really want to do it. So and Bujin, for example, although yes, they do special summon, they want to bring out their big Xyz monsters, they want to make them invincible.
Right.
What Yosenju do is essentially normal summon 1 of them and then normal summon all of them. You can normal summon 5 monsters in 1 turn.
Okay.
And just attack for 8,000.
So that might be something we're going to be in for a treat here. His opponent is Raphael Egger from Switzerland. I actually know that player because he came to a local tournament in Berlin. He made the 11-hour trip on the train together with some of his friends. And I think out of the 4 guys from Switzerland that came to Berlin, 3 of them, or even 4 of them, ended up in the top 8 or top 16 of the event. So he, first of all, quite a dedication, gotta applaud them. And second of all, they are pretty good players, of course.
Oh, that's good. I mean, he's playing Qliphort at the moment, so as I said, it's a bit of a clash between the new and the new challengers. Now, he is also playing Recreate. Now, that is a card that I've not really seen played at all.
Right.
Suddenly it's come in. It negates any level 4 or lower monsters that have been normal summoned, effects, and anything that's level 5 or higher,
Until
special summoned.
the end of the turn.
No, I believe it's just negates.
All right. Well, we take you to the table where the players are already seated. They are ready to get going. We're going to take another look at the card text of Recreate, and you can run us through the text again, or through the strategy, really. Okay, so it's a continuous trap. It's a little bit like a skill drain. So it says if a monster is normal or flip summoned, and it's a level 4 or lower monster.
It is just until the end of the turn.
Until
but
the end of turn.
That doesn't actually matter with Qliphort because it means that you're able to bring your monster back up to its original attack rather than it
never
being
goes
on
down
800.
to the...
No, it doesn't go back down after it comes back into play. Now, also, anything that's level 5 or higher that's special summoned, its effects are negated and it's banished when it leaves the field.
And that's big against some of the popular archetypes.
Definitely. So against Necros, it will be fantastic, and also against Shadow as well. Now, it's also, unfortunately, not great for Yosenju, because they will normal summon one, and then they won't be able to normal summon again.
Any of the others, yeah.
Yeah, they lose their field swarming ability.
All right. If you're not familiar with our layout, this is a new layout that we put together for you guys. We got a lovely carpet with Yu-Gi-Oh! Printing on it, and it allows us to show you a little bit more than before, I think. So it is Kevin Langenberg who goes first, who is in the upper corner, and he started with a Pot of Duality.
Already you can see what he's planning here. He's using his Pot of Duality because he doesn't care about special summoning. He's setting 3 face down there as well. So
yeah, he got the anti-spell fragrance from the Pot of Duality, and he flips that immediately. So let's bring that card up for you guys. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you can always see the cards that these guys are holding on to. And the cards that they have on the field, we can actually change that for you, although there's a little bit of a delay at the second.
now, Anti-Spell Fragrance is a very old card, which is probably why it's come up with a blank card there. Basically, what it's doing is, it's saying that whenever you want to play a spell card, you must set it first.
Right, so it slows you down tremendously.
Yeah.
And also sometimes it prevents you completely from activating cards because your opponent can get rid of them with a Mystical Space Typhoon or something.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you can see here that what Kevin's actually done is set his Snatch Steal as well, just in preparation for playing his Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now, down comes a disc, setting 4 there, so that's a Pot of Duality, a Skill Drain, a Mystical Space Typhoon, and a Sacrifice that's been set there, because, of course, he can't just activate those. Now, Sujit comes out. Sujit can give itself plus 1,000 attack. And it just really wants to get rid of that disc.
Yeah, so what does Kevin Langenberg have in his back row here? He's got a Mirror Force and a Snatch Steal face down.
Yeah. He set a Snatch Steal knowing that he'd have an Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now, attack goes through, and down comes Skill Drain, which means that the Sujik is going, because Qliphort disc is back up to 2,800. It's a pretty telegraphed move there, actually.
Yeah,
Looking at
it
it.
seemed a little like that, yeah. That's a good start for Raphael, I would say. What is Kevin Langenberg's thinking in that situation? Does he just say, okay, I'm thinking there's a bluff here or something?
I think what he was thinking is that because he's got his Anti-Spell Fragrance right there, he must have had to set a Sacrifice, and he wants to be able to play it, which he does now. So he's trying to get rid of the Qliphort monster that was on the field just so that he didn't have the opportunity to play it. Unfortunately, not realizing that there's probably going to be a Skill Drain there as well.
Right, so the new card in the back row of Kevin Langenberg is a Fiendish Chain. So again, one of the many anti-cards really that he's running here.
Yeah.
That stops your opponent's monsters from attacking, and actually it negates their effects, which is a big deal.
And an interesting fact, Matthew Bell says that that is the best card in the game.
Fiendish Chain.
Yeah.
That is interesting opinion. Do you agree with that?
I enjoy the card. It's essentially going to make sure that it negates an effect and it stops things attacking.
Yeah, but how is it better than, for example, a Raigeki?
Because Raigeki is going to destroy the monster and then still give them their effect if they got one in the graveyard.
All right.
Phoenix Chain is going to make their opponents sit there with a monster in a zone that they can't use. It's also a negation effect as well. So any monsters that are going to come down like Trishula or anything like that are just not going to have an effect.
Okay. Well, I guess it's really good against the current cards that are being played. So Raphael Egger continues to improve his position. He just activated Pot of Duality, and now his hand is a Qliphort Scout, a Recreate, and a Summoner's Art, although Recreate and Summoner's Art are being sent to his back row.
Also, if he wanted to play that Scout,
He would have to.
He would have to set it in his Pendulum Zone.
Can you set a card in a Pendulum Summon?
I believe so. That's correct. Because it's a spell card, you have to set it.
Okay. I wasn't even sure you could actually do that. All right, so Kevin Langenberg now tries to come back. He drew into a Vanity's Emptiness. He's got a Yosenju Tsuchik in his hand. So here's the Snatch Steal, a card that some of you, I think most of you will actually know because it's such an old card. It's made a comeback. It's been put off the forbidden list. Sometimes people think that's very surprising, but then again, Raigeki also came back. And
yeah, it's because getting rid of all of your opponent's monsters doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing for them anymore.
Yeah, with archetypes like Shaddoll or Burning Abyss that are triggering once they're sent to the graveyard.
Yang Zing, yeah, all of those.
All right. So Raphael Egger using a Mystical Space Typhoon to basically negate the Snatch Steal. Now he attacked into a Mirror Force. He has another Pot of Duality in his hand. He just drew into that and a Qliphort Scout. This is interesting that he attacks first before activating the Pot of Duality, like testing the waters, so to say.
Just to see what there is there.
And now he has more information, and it makes more sense to activate the Pot of Duality, I guess, because he knows what his opponent is holding on to. One of the biggest
I do believe that he may have played it earlier on in the turn.
He also has to set it first.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about that anti-spell fragrance. All right, so he just replaced his
disc with the new Qliphort Stealth.
Yes.
Now, Qliphort Stealth came out in the Secrets of Eternity. It's a brand new card. What it's essentially doing there is it has an effect similar to Carrier. Oh, and there's the game. He just couldn't see anything that he could do. Completely and totally beaten down.
Yeah, Kevin Langenberg drew into Macrocosmos, or at least that's the last card I have on the app. And he knew there's like nothing he could do to turn this around anymore.
Macrocosmos also has a very interesting wording which says that cards have to go to the graveyard to be banished, meaning that he doesn't actually do anything against Qliphort because they all go to the extra deck.
Ah, yes. That's also something to keep in mind. It's definitely not his best matchup. We can. So what was this deck built against? Is it against Necros?
Yeah, 100%. Looking at it, because he's playing very... thinking about it now, just hitting me. The reason why he's playing so little, because they have to return back to hand. It's very interesting. He's trying to stop his opponent from activating ritual cards, stopping the special summoning, stopping them attacking, negating their effects, getting them off of the field, banishing them so that they can't use their effect again. He's trying to build... It looks like anything that uses a graveyard effect, or anything that tries to special summon, or anything that wants to use spell cards. He's trying to go against that. Unfortunately, Qliphort, as soon as they set a skill drain and play any of the Qliphort cards,
he cannot get rid of the big monster.
They're suddenly much, much bigger than his monster.
Yeah. Well, so what does he have in his side deck to combat what Raphael Egger is throwing at him here? He's got 3 copies of Maxi.
Mistake. Mistake, I believe, stops you from adding... It stops cards being banished, actually, doesn't it? Or am I thinking of Imperial Iron Wall?
I think this is, that sounded a lot like Imperial Iron Wall.
I believe Mistake stops you adding cards from your deck to your hand. Just to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically what that's basically going to shut down Scout, it's going to shut down Summoner's Art, it's going to shut down Pot of Duality. So it'll shut down a lot of the cards. Unfortunately, it doesn't help him so much against this.
He's got a Light Imprisoning Mirror, It's not that much use.
No, because they're all Earth.
Thunder King Ryo, that's the same thing as Mistake, really.
Yep.
Twister and Flying Sea. It doesn't sound like he's really prepared for this particular matchup. However, we're going to see if he will disagree with that assessment. Raphael Egger is allowed to go first in the second game. Both guys were done with the sideboarding pretty fast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He went for the Scout immediately, and this card is the backbone of the Qliphort archetype, really.
Definitely. I mean, it's pay 800 life points, get any card in your deck that you need.
Yeah, those 800 life points are a very good investment, and you can do it turn after turn. Sometimes you even play cards like Trampolines to return it to your hands just so you can play it again.
Well, that's one of the reasons why as soon as you know you're playing against a Qliphort deck, you definitely side out your upstart goblins, because you're just giving them more and more searches. They can only activate it 10 times in a game if you're not running upstart.
So he now normal summoned Qliphort Helix, and he again equipped it with Sacrifice.
Again, another search.
Yes.
It lets it count as 2 tributes, so he can just tribute that 1 Helix to bring out any of his 2 tribute monsters.
Right, so his hand is a Nightbeam and a Qliphort Stealth. So let's go to Kevin Langenberg, who starts with a Pot of Duality. This is his hand on the right-hand side. He sees another copy of Pot of Duality. That would be surprising. He's got a Book of Moon and then a Yosenju monster in the middle.
That's a Kama 2.
All right. So he is low on monsters. He only had a Tsuchik in hand, so he picks the Kama.
Okay, now what he's actually able to do there is he's going to be able to play Kama 2 and then Tsuchik.
And
whether he wants to do that, of course.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how does it help him?
In this situation, he is able to make one of his rank 4s immediately. Because I believe that Tsuchik is also a level 4 monster.
Yeah, so there's the Kama, and he indicates.
Okay.
We got some issues with the Yosenju cards, it appears. But Tsuchik is, in fact, a level 4 card.
There we go. Okay, so he's given that Kamatu plus 1,000 attack.
He attacks.
To try to attack for 2,800, but a Mirror Force has happened there. Now, even attacking would only do damage, because what Sacrifice also does is say that you can't be destroyed by battle. So he set a Torrential Tribute, an Anti-Spell Fragrance, a Fiendish Chain, and a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yeah, that's funny, because on the right-hand side it says cards in hand, but actually now they are all on the table. So he's out of monsters already. He just attacked into Mirror Force. This doesn't look good. Raphael Egger on the other side, he just drew into a Qliphort Carrier.
He's got Stealth there, which he's tributed for 2 tributes. Now, Helix allows you to destroy... Helix there, sorry, allows you to destroy a spell or trap card when it's tributed. And Sacrifice is also going to let him...
Search again.
Yep. And Stealth has been tribute summoned, so he is sending a card back to hand. Now, you cannot activate any cards in response to Stealth's effect.
Right, so the anti-spell fragrance just bit the dust, and you can tell Kevin Langenberg is not looking too happy here. Raphael Egger, basically, he needs just to follow it through, do the regular Qliphort move after move. And he's also got a Nightbeam to shut down another back row card of Kevin Langenberg, which would leave the Dutch champion with just 1 card on the field.
Which is quite smart, because he did actually side all of those in as well.
There is the Nightbeam, and he's either going to hit the Torrential Tribute.
Which he does.
He does. Ooh. So I think there's only a Mystical Space Typhoon left on the Kevin Langenberg side of the field.
Which is going to get rid of a Qliphort Scout. It's going to deal 800 damage, and there it is.
There it is. So Kevin Langenberg is now out of cards, whereas Raphael Egger still has 2 more monsters in hand and a big, heavy hitter on the field.
Now, it's interesting that he didn't play Monolith first, because Monolith says that when you tribute summon a Qliphort monster, or when you tribute summon, you can then... Oh, it may be just any time during the turn. I didn't know whether it had to be face up. For that, just make it. Yep, it doesn't have to be face up when the tribute happens, so he gets to draw an extra card.
All right. So, how did Kevin Langenberg end up on 2 cards in his back row? Am I missing something? All right, so Langenberg is definitely on the defensive here. He's pushed into a corner with his back against the wall, and Raphael just needs to attack turn after turn. Langenberg now drew into... The app is a little bit behind, I'm afraid. He does have a mirror force, according to our app, so he could defend himself from at least another attack here.
Now, the anti-spell fragrance there, sorry, was from Stealth's effect. It returns it back to the hand.
Ah, okay. This makes sense then. So there's the attack into the mirror force. But as you can see, Raphael not putting those monsters in the graveyard because those pendulum monsters, they actually end up on top of the extra deck.
So you can just pendulum summon them back out as well. Now, Stealth wasn't a problem. Immediately a carrier comes down, equipped with a sacrifice, which was set, preempting the thing there, and that should be an attack directly for a win.
Kevin Langenberg is checking.
Oh, and there's a Fiendish Chain.
He's got a Fiendish Chain that he just drew into. There we go again. So yeah, it might indeed be the best card in the game if it buys you another turn and you can come back then. Well, it's definitely bought Kevin Langenberg another turn, but can he come back now? He's already 1 game down. He needs to, well, go big or go home now. And again, the writing's on the wall for Raphael with a Scout, a Disc, and a Carrier in hand. He still can activate that Scout in the second main phase.
Yep, he can. Well, he'd have to set it first because of the anti-spell fragrance.
He's not going for that. It's very interesting. So Langenberg drew and immediately set the card. Well, so far so good for him.
Now, looking at it, there is a pretty obvious play, which I believe he's about to do. He's tributing the Carrier. Sacrifice goes to the graveyard. And he's summoning a Disc. Disc is now going to be able to special summon 2 other cards.
So he did draw into another Fiendish Chain.
He's going to negate the effect of there, but the Carrier and the Search is still going to happen. Carrier's effect, again, when it's tributed, can bounce. Oh, it's only a monster, actually, I believe. So, no, there's nothing happening with that.
All right, so Raphael with those cards in hand just searched his deck for yet another card. That's the Helix. Down goes the Mystical Space Typhoon, and he doesn't set the Scout. Or maybe, is there a chance he's not aware that he can set the Scout first?
No, I believe he's not filling up both of his pendulum zones.
All right, so Kevin Langenberg drew. We don't exactly know that it is. It's Twister that he drew into.
Which is, I believe, destroy one of your cards and destroy one of your opponent's back row.
Yeah, it's definitely not much help in that situation. I mean, he's got a Fiendish Chain that he can destroy if he has to have a target.
Interesting target.
Yeah, I guess that Raphael is actually really not aware, or he wants to go for the big pendulum summon now. So there is the Scout. He pays 800, and there's another Twister from Kevin Langenberg.
Yeah, the Twister's basically going to sit there and go, no, Scout's not doing anything. Twister can also target itself, I believe, as well. So. Oh,
yeah,
it's a pendulum monster.
Yeah,
gives it +3.
And yeah, Kevin Langenberg sees the writing on the wall. He knows,
yeah,
he knows what's coming with an extra deck full of pendulum monsters that are all going to come back here.
Although, obviously, he'd lost there, so he was going to pick up his deck. I would have wanted to see that summon, because if you actually look at all of the cards that were suddenly in the extra deck and just in his hand, he was going to be dropping a field of maybe 8,000, 9,000 damage.
Yeah.
Now, something that very much confused me is